It was a Tuesday afternoon, December 23, 2025. Across the United States, anticipation for the World Cup was everywhere. Stadiums were being upgraded, fan zones planned, and children dreamed of seeing Messi or Mbappe on home soil. Then, the news broke. FIFA strips US of 2026 World Cup hosting rights. The headline flashed across every screen, a digital gut punch. For a moment, it felt like a hoax, but it was real. The world's biggest party was not coming to America after all. In cities like Los Angeles, Dallas, and New York, the news landed with a thud. Years of preparation, billions spent, and dreams evaporated in a single shocking press conference from Zurich. The emotional impact on fans was immediate and profound. From die-hard supporters to casual families, the sense of loss was personal. The United States had been a key partner in the united bid with Canada and Mexico, set to host the lion's share of matches. To have that honor snatched away so close to the tournament felt arbitrary and cruel. The joy that had been building for nearly a decade was replaced by disappointment and confusion. What made the decision so jarring was the complete lack of warning. There were no public disputes, no hints that FIFA was reconsidering. US soccer officials believed they were on track for a spectacular event. This sudden reversal felt like a blindside tackle. Everyone, from the highest levels of the sport's governance down to the youngest fan, asked the same question: why? The world's game had just delivered its most stunning off-field result. An entire nation was left reeling, searching for answers that weren't immediately forthcoming. The silence in city halls and planning committees was heavy with disbelief. The promise of the World Cup was gone. The world turned its attention to Zurich. FIFA President Gianni Infantino stood at a podium, his expression unyielding. He began not with an apology, but a declaration. FIFA had a duty to ensure the best possible experience for fans, players, and officials. He cited significant logistical and security concerns that had emerged during recent assessments. The sheer size of the United States and its decentralized planning created insurmountable complexities, he claimed, guaranteeing a seamless and secure experience across 11 host cities, each with its own protocols, was a risk FIFA was unwilling to take. Infantino insisted the decision was not political, praising American fans and stadiums, but returned to the theme of operational guarantees. Recent simulations and expert reports, he said, highlighted issues from visa delays to law enforcement coordination. The message: America's bid, while ambitious, failed to convince FIFA of its practical execution. To soften the blow, Infantino announced Canada would now host the entire tournament, with Mexico retaining its original 10 matches. The United States was officially out. For millions across the US, the explanation raised more questions than it answered. The moment Infantino finished speaking, the dominoes began to fall. In cities like Philadelphia, Seattle, and Miami, multi-million-dollar projects ground to a halt. Public transportation expansions, stadium renovations, and urban beautification, all tied to World Cup revenue, were suddenly without purpose. The economic engine of the World Cup sputtered and died overnight. Contracts were frozen, sponsorships evaporated, and the hospitality industry faced catastrophic losses. Small businesses near stadiums, from souvenir shops to cafes, were left with debt and uncertainty. The financial devastation was personal for countless entrepreneurs and workers. Beyond the balance sheets, the emotional blow was profound. An entire generation of young American players and fans lost their moment. Community programs and cultural festivals linked to the World Cup were instantly dismantled. The vibrant tapestry of engagement unraveled in an instant. The party was over before it began. The silence left behind was a stark reminder of what could have been. While FIFA's statement focused on logistics, a different narrative took hold. Was this really about transportation and security, or was it rooted in politics? Sources inside FIFA hinted that logistical concerns were a convenient excuse. The real issue, they whispered, was a fear the US couldn't guarantee a welcoming environment for all fans and players. The concept of inclusivity became central in the unofficial post-mortem. Critics argued that US visa policies and rhetoric created a hostile atmosphere. The idea that America suddenly lacked the capability to host struck many as absurd. Many believed FIFA was sending a message about the values it expects: openness and inclusivity. The debate raged: logistics versus politics. The truth was likely somewhere in between. The World Cup had been moved, igniting a fierce global conversation about where sports end and politics begin. The reaction from the US government was swift and furious. Officials in Washington, D.C. felt blindsided and betrayed. The White House condemned FIFA's decision as unjustified and disrespectful. Politicians from both parties demanded transparency and investigations. The diplomatic goodwill that had surrounded the bid was gone, replaced by anger. On social media, the fury was visceral. FIFA corruption trended globally. Fans and celebrities unleashed criticism, sharing stories of crushed dreams. Local backlash in spurned host cities was equally fierce. Mayors and city councils held emergency press conferences to voice their dismay. Legal threats followed, with cities and investors exploring lawsuits against FIFA. The initial shock had worn off, replaced by a hardened resolve to fight back. The United States was not just disappointed, it was angry and mobilizing. While the US reeled, euphoria swept across Canada. The nation would now host the majority of the 2026 World Cup. From Toronto to Vancouver, Canadians erupted in joy. Canada was no longer a supporting actor, it was taking center stage. The excitement was palpable, but so was the daunting task ahead. Canada now had less than 2 years to prepare for 64 matches. The Canadian Soccer Association and government scrambled to form a new organizing committee. Cities like Montreal and Edmonton, once left out, were suddenly back in the running. A new, unifying national project began, igniting excitement across the country. The World Cup was now a chance for all of Canada to showcase its hospitality and love for the game. The country had hosted the 2015 Women's World Cup, a crucial dress rehearsal. Now, with the men's tournament, there was belief this could permanently elevate Canadian soccer. The Northern Star was rising, ready for its moment in the sun. The FIFA decision created a dramatic economic divergence between the US and Canada. For the US, billions in projected revenue vanished, and host cities faced job cuts and abandoned projects. The World Cup's cancellation left a trail of financial wreckage. In stark contrast, Canada was poised for an economic windfall. Investment surged, creating a nationwide construction and hiring boom. The decision transferred a massive economic opportunity from one neighbor to the other. Culturally, the impact was just as profound. In the US, the decision fostered cynicism and detachment from global soccer. The vibrant celebration promised by the World Cup was replaced by a narrative of betrayal. For Canada, hosting became a symbol of unity and global standing. The event promised to be a unifying force, inspiring a new generation. While the US grappled with loss, Canada embraced unexpected opportunity and pride. FIFA's decision to move the World Cup signaled a shift in global sports power. For decades, superpowers like the US held sway, but FIFA now prioritized its own criteria above all else. The stakes for future hosts were raised. Operational perfection was now the standard. The era of winning a bid on promises and prestige alone was over. Nations must now provide concrete guarantees of flawless execution. The decision forced a global conversation about politics in sports. While FIFA denied political motives, the perception lingered. Potential hosts must now consider their international image and diplomatic relations. The 2026 decision suggested that a host nation's values are now part of the evaluation. The United Bid's collapse showed the complexities of multi-country partnerships. FIFA and the IOC can alter nations' trajectories with a single vote. Global sports federations are now powerful geopolitical players. As the dust settled, the story of the 2026 World Cup became a lesson in unity and division. The initial United Bid symbolized North American cooperation. Its fracture revealed the fragility of such partnerships. The dream of a continent united by soccer was replaced by two nations on divergent paths. The beautiful game, meant to unite, had sown division between close allies. The episode leaves us with questions. Is the World Cup just a sporting event, or a platform for values? These events are deeply intertwined with politics, economics, and identity. The criteria for being a worthy host are more complex than ever. For the US, the loss could be a catalyst for change and reflection. The journey to host again will require rebuilding trust and examining national policies. The final whistle on the original plan is a cautionary tale about unity and division. The legacy of 2026 is not a trophy, but a story of promises made, broken, and the enduring question of what it means to welcome the world.